idea.
This is like normally around the time he gets off work.
Is Amar on
All
LA?
right.
Is he just not here right now?
No idea.
I'm gonna be turning down the game a bit.
How long does it usually take to get the results for the SWAT training?
RP to find out.
It's crazy.
Bruh.
It's gonna take you
Right?
3 more
Yeah.
years now. 3 more.
Yeah, who's John Gotti though? I haven't
Sounds
seen
about
him in
right.
the city.
Is he on VR porn?
What do you mean? I did 8 hours this week. What the fuck?
Report time.
Yo,
Yeah.
tell us how VR porn is, bro.
Yeah.
Good.
Tell us.
10-3, 10-3, 10-3.
Signal 100.
It's the big PD meeting.
All right, this is emergency. John Gotti. What is it like?
Yeah.
It's outstanding, bro. You should really give it a try. It's an awesome game.
Just hey.
You have your
like,
habit.
Is it like? Do you feel like
Let me
really
know when I can come
immersed?
over.
Like, do you actually feel it like happening?
Yeah, it's like POV. You know what I mean?
Oh, bro, let me know. Hey, let me know when I can come over and try
Is
it
this
out.
what the meeting was about?
I mean, you
Think
spend
so.
a lot of hours on it, bro. A lot.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, we can play together. We can do duos. So let's turn it up.
Oh, say
Hey,
less.
listen, if you guys want to talk about your VR porn experience, you can take it to a private call.
10-4.
It's
W press on me.
10-13s.
my,
Genevieve 10-13s. Goddamn.
Sorry, Super
My
Trooper
poor
2.
virgin ears.
sorry.
Bye, John. Bye,
Just another
Jay.
game.
Arthur, what
Knew
did
it,
you just
Arthur.
say?
I knew it.
I didn't say shit.
Photoshop taking a hot minute.
Hey, Elias.
Uh-huh,
Say
sure.
bye,
Put some shit.
Familia.
Bye, Familia. Big paper day.
That's crazy.
That's actually crazy, you gangbangers. Oops, that was easy.
Crazy part is this P2 went to fucking TVG and then
P3, by
this
the way.
little league's hard.
P3.
Hey. Calm down. All right.
Settle down. Yo, son, why you mad?
Why
You good, BK? You good today? You good?
Are you good?
You good, bro?
Whoa. All right. Get this thing on the way here. All right. First off, thank y'all for coming. The people who did. I know there are a couple of people who couldn't show. First thing we want to touch on, the W chasing mentality. All right. It's got to stop. It's fine if we lose people. There's other ways to increase the rolling papers there. During the evals we spoke on writing warrants and have not seen. I've seen 2 warrants written since then. It's been like 2.5, 3 weeks, maybe even more. That's another way to increase the rolling papers. You guys can write at least 3 warrants a day within 4 hours of being on duty. I know not everyone catches everyone in these 1080s and other things as well. There's officers here who will help you write these warrants, or if you have any questions, go about that way. MDT, the jail time, that is a recommended time. You don't have to send them for that time. I don't think anyone wants to sit in prison for 4 hours when there's nothing to do up there. Me personally, I've been dropping like 60 to 7% of it, so.
Yeah, I mean, the penal code is very strict right now.
The fucking tiger.
You know, just like a simple bank robbery can turn into like 3 hours in jail, right? So if they're, being compliant, they're not being assholes to you, etc., just give them a good chunk of time off. Nobody wants to go sit up there forever. If you want to understand what I'm talking about, make a crim, go rob a bank, and see how it feels. Like, it's not a good experience. There's literally nothing to do up there. And at the end of the day, like, we want scenes. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to just sit at PD with, our hands in our lap, not doing anything. We want to be out in the city having fun. So if they're providing, good rolling papers and all that, there's no need to send them away for a long time.
We have a new channel now, casual uniforms and whatnot. Casuals are Fridays and Saturdays. You should not be wearing improper uniforms without those days. And your uniform has to be voted on in that channel. If you get to receive a green check mark, then you're good to wear it. But there's going to be no more wearing whatever you want throughout the week, alright? Unless told otherwise. Genevieve, you want to touch on the uniforms at all by chance, or?
guess more or less just like try to keep it professional. I mean, I personally feel like business casual is the way to go, but females have limited clothing as it is. And then I also don't want to like super limit what people want to wear on their casual days. However, just keep in mind that we do want it to remain professional. So if something's denied, it's I guess for lack of a better words, it's not that deep. We just don't think it looks good to represent the force. If there are any like personal problems with it, if you're feeling personally attacked or anything like that, go ahead and DM me and we'll get it sorted out.
Just to touch on that, in regards to the SWAT uniform, does anybody have the female version?
Yeah, I do have some numbers for what I found for SWAT because obviously females have
right,
very
because
little
like
clothing.
in our uniform file, like most of it is all like for male, so it's really hard to
I do have a little uniform put together that I can give you the numbers later.
Awesome, thank you.
No problem.
All right, moving on. We have new calls now. The suspicious activity call. You guys can have 2 units, which is 2 people. The suspicious activity is going to be for drug selling. All right. So once you guys get that call, I don't know if it pings on the map. I haven't seen yet, but you guys can go on the MDT and set your waypoint there. Like I said, do not. Okay, gotcha. Do not break the scene cap with that. When approaching there, just remain vigilant. You never know how many people are up there selling. All right. Moving on.
Hold on, I have a question on that. All right, so I'm on the other side. You know what I mean, Crim side. So us on that side, we tax people.
What do you mean?
Or because those corners are basically MLOs. You know what I mean? They're MLOs, and we tax people, and we usually provide protection. So does that, you know what I mean?
That would be intervening.
So it can fall out into a war technically, correct? Between PD and Crim.
I wouldn't intervene, is what I'm saying.
Right.
I think that right there, like, I understand you guys say protection, but as Brian's saying, it's kind of like interjecting yourselves into a scene in a way. Just to, when a cop pulls up to someone and asks him about.
Yeah, I mean, like most people sell in groups of 2, 3, 4, and they have a couple different cars. So like when a cop pulls up, they, get in their car and have a chase, and there's only 2 cops. So
what about in an RP sense for them as like they don't intervene in that scene, but if it happens multiple times, that gives them a reason to have beef with us, I guess, because we keep interrupting their business, quote unquote. Does that make sense?
Can you explain a little more?
So they're RPing that they're taxing people because you're on their turf. In a gang mentality or in a criminal world, they see things differently and they run things how they run things in the shadows, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. So them taxing those people on their turf is how they benefit and make money, the criminal side. Obviously, that's illegal in our eyes as cops. But would that give them a reason to have beef with the cops if it happens like 2 to 3 times where we interrupt or cause confusion on their home turf, I guess is what you call it?
So in a way,
I have a question that might answer this. Do we get pings for just drug sales or for them getting the taxes from the people?
Just the drug sales.
Okay.
Can I say something on it real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like the taxing thing, I feel like you should only provide protection towards like other gangs and let PD do their job. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna protect them from other gangs interfering with them, like selling drugs or something like that.
Because out of all the drugs location, the most people that get taxed is Grove Street and Jamestown.
And
That's where the RP is.
So with that being said, if anything, both your guys' gang characters have a couple PD phone numbers. So if anything, I don't mind it, but what you can probably do is give a phone call to the officer and like, hey, next time you guys come, to be vigilant as there might be a shootout, just a fair warning so both sides are prepared, make it fun. You know what I mean? So it's not just like a ambush on either part.
Yeah, of course. I'm gonna.
Because they're both next to your guys' MLOs. So if 2 officers spawn and there's 25 of y'all just gunning down 2 officers, I don't think that's fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
that's kind of what I was getting at. Like you don't just want to shoot on sight. Oh, there's cops messing with our stuff, so boom, there and done. No, it's got to be kind of like a build up, a story to it, kind of thing. Is what I was getting at.
yeah,
And I
that's
was
what
seeing
I
if that
was
was
gonna
okay for them to do.
Yeah,
that,
I mean, if you
guess.
call an officer and be like, hey, stay away from, a block or whatnot. That's my people.
Yeah,
selling drugs.
maybe
And
maybe you see PD bust like 4 or 5 of your guys, and then you make a call. You're like, hey, keep doing this. We're gonna do this, and then maybe the next time you see PD out there, you kind of like show force but don't shoot type thing, and then just build it up. Don't just come out and shoot.
Yeah, of course. Not gonna KOS. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, if we can RP behind it. All right, perfect.
Can I?
I don't see an issue with that at all. Go ahead.
If only 2 cops are responding, but let's say those 2 cops pull up and like they see one dude selling, but they see like 5 guys running around, can they call for 32s, or is it only those 2 cops that deal with that?
Let
I'm
me
pretty sure-
deal with that.
I think, yeah. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of people because there's a lot of drugs. Like, we just got the call, and I'm pretty sure there's been people selling. I mean, I don't know how much dirty money is all out there, but they've probably been selling for a while. But with that being said, like, there's obviously different ways to RP it out.
Can you call like a 32 to like be like in the
Yeah, you can have them in the area for sure.
Like in case you get shot at or something.
Yeah, not to intervene within like the scene going on, but for sure, if you can call 32 to be like on standby, I'm sure there's ways around it. Think.
Yeah, like if you saw a suspicious activity alert all the way in Sandy or something, you could be like, hey, can I have a couple units follow me and post up on the interstate in case something goes wrong? Something like that. That would definitely be okay.
Or like investigate the scene first, arrive on scene, look it out, see the drug sale, and say, hey, I got like 5 guys here, I'm gonna need additional 32s,
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
While we're on the subject of 911 calls, I believe Genevieve wanted to talk to you about a couple of them.
Yeah, so we've had some complaints, obviously. A lot of people complain. They were instructed about a little bit of the process of our 911 calls and how many come across our screen in a short amount of time and things like that. And they said if it, was a one-off situation, they wouldn't be as upset, but I guess it's happened multiple times. So with that being said, please make sure if you are not in an active scene or caught up within, processing or things that you can't walk away from, etc., make sure that you are also paying attention to the 911 calls. I know a lot come through as well for those who need EMS help. We see those as well. But a lot of people have been calling for PD assistance, and we aren't responding. And pretty much we are only responding to shots fired. So please, if you are 10-8 and able to, make sure you are paying attention and responding to those who need PD assistance, okay? Does anyone have any questions on that?
That all at once.
We do something
No,
where,
good for me.
Can we do something to where, I think we've talked about it before, like kind of organizing like different groups and stuff, like have just say, I don't know, hey, you 4, you're gonna handle 911 calls if you see it, but still be on patrol. Like, is there, like kind of certain things?
Oh, like we did the other day.
That, you think?
I don't think a lot of people like that idea, but I was going to put that in motion whenever we have a lot of people in on duty.
Yeah, the majority of people didn't like that because it kind of sucks for the ones who are getting like all the robberies and like the 1080s and all that, and then we're kind of stuck just doing traffic stops.
That's why there's a rotation.
Well, okay, I haven't come across any rotation, but
well, yeah, because everybody stopped doing it in
okay, gotcha.
an hour because they didn't want to give it a shot.
Oh, well, I was.
This is true. It lasted 20 minutes.
Okay, not even an hour.
Oh yeah.
I know for officers who are out there and they're responding to calls, it's a bit distracting. Have you guys ever considered? Because I know in some cities they do it, like getting like a dispatch. Like
I've been trying to bring that up for a long time.
Yep.
We had one at some point, no?
No, we never have a dispatch.
BK and Lamar tried it out one time.
Mr. Bishop Rain. Maybe we can talk after this.
I think that rotation thing was supposed to be our form of dispatch until government or staff or whoever devs could work on fixing the MDT for us to make it where we could have dispatch.
So like the city I was in prior, like if on your thinking bar, if you just did like T/D and wrote your message, that was dispatch right there, and it'll pop up in the police eyes only, like how it was in like No Pixel. You know what I'm saying? When they do that little dispatch and whatnot, I feel like that'd be a lot
Yeah,
helpful.
but keep in mind also if dispatch can change the channels of each officer. Like if you have one button that can change all officers to channel 1 in case a 99 was made,
Mm-hmm.
that would be nice. If
Yep,
you can,
already made note of that.
Yeah.
There are scripts out there that will allow you to manage the dispatching.
I was just
of
about
unit.
to.
Like
Yeah, I was just about to
core
bring that up.
dispatch, for example, is one.
Gotcha.
And it works between EMS, police, and like whatever, like up to 3 jobs usually. That's what most of the scripts are. Yeah, there's been a bunch of scripts because I mean this is a discussion that's been happening for a long time now. We wanted to include that stuff, and I mean I personally talked to Level about it, but I mean it's up to them at the end of the day if they want to include that. They want to have the developers put them.
I would also suggest if you're out on a call and you see a 911 and you're pretty sure no one's responsible, but you're dealing with something, like go late. Like you can show up late. Like it sucks, but at least you're showing them that you're responding to citizens or whoever.
You know, you guys can
and you
respond to that call on the MDT as well, right?
Yep, on the MDT you can scroll to the call, right click on the 911 call, and click respond to call. It's at the bottom. And you guys can type a message to whoever called it in.
To where I think I brought this up before, to where I remember in another city we were able to just say flex your Y button or something. That would go to that immediate first call. Are we able to get something like that back? Because as say I'm driving solo at the pool, you know what I mean? It's hard for me to say I'm driving, pulling up the NDT, doing it. I know it's not hard, but it's also kind of difficult at the same time.
Well, I feel like if the message is more so like if you can't immediately respond, like if you, I mean, if you're like super busy, you're not gonna whip out your MDT and respond while you're in the middle of a shootout, you know. But if you're just talking to people and you're caught up in something like you're processing and you realize no one else can respond to this 911 call, that's like a good time to just shoot a message, be like, hey, like I'll get you as soon as I can or something.
And you can always take time off.
I think the circle back though, if we do the rotation thing like what we were talking about, that would help with the 911 calls and stuff as well.
Yeah, I'm sure we can talk about it and figure out if we want to implement something like that and go from there. But in the meantime, this is what we have right now, and this is what we're kind of stuck with. So please pay attention to 911 calls.
Gotcha.
I think Raven was trying to speak.
Yeah, go ahead, Raven. Say something.
So for that, you could always just have the person in the cell wait a bit, and that could be time that you could take off of their full sentence to jail, right? So that would help in lowering jail sentences. And like the thing that was brought up with, sending people for less. And then also the dispatch that Amar and someone else, tried to do. I think it was PK. That, I think it would work well. The only issue is that everyone needs to understand that dispatch is the one assigning you calls, not to talk over radio, not to whatever, just let dispatch.
There's a big PD meeting going on right now.
And kind of keep radio communication to
It's
a
big
minimum.
PD meeting.
The big thing right now that I think is an issue is the radio communication.
I don't know how loud the game is compared to the meeting, but the meeting's in Discord right now.
Or asking a question
So
and
it's
getting
not
radio
very,
silence, or
it's
not
not
even
very
just getting
interesting.
a 10-4 back is sometimes frustrating
There's a-
because then you don't know.
There's a mountain
no,
lion up there called
affirmation
Ziggy.
that people are
It's about the
hearing
most
you
interesting thing here
or
right now.
whatever. Like if I'm
Good
saying
name.
something and I'm like, hey guys, like
Appreciate you.
this is what I'm doing or this is what's
Welcome.
happening, and then no one says anything, I'm just like, okay, great. Guess I'm just alone.
Yeah, good talk.
So radio communication is something that I think we should maybe work towards being more aware on.
There he goes.
You know?
Mhm.
That's it. I'm done.
You guys ever thought about like? Oh, my bad.
No, it was going to be a real quick input, just something that I've seen
fuck?
in other cities.
Shoot.
If you got a partner or you're on a scene and
Appreciate
somebody's
right
on the
there.
radio for
Appreciate
somebody,
you.
or you're in a
Possibly
scene
the
and you
worst.
see your buddy,
Possibly the
whoever
worst
it
time
is,
for you guys
interacting,
possible.
Answer for them. Like step away, take the radio traffic, so that way someone's getting an answer. Like even today, I think someone was calling for Air One, and I'm just like, I have no idea if Air One's going, but no one's answering them. So I step away, and I'm like, I don't think anyone can do Air One. We're in the middle of the scene.
It's the
But
worst
then
time for me to end.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, really?
That was me asking earlier.
Yeah. So.
Don't tell me ended on my behalf.
Yeah, my suggestion would be like if other
Don't
people are
do
dealing and
that.
interacting with others,
Don't do that.
and you're not, and there's radio traffic, and you can handle it or talk to it, try to do so. That'd be my suggestion.
Even if you don't know for sure, because me and Lily and I were at the beach waiting, trying to
There's
figure
like,
out what we were gonna do next,
how many people there's
and
like,
it all relied on whether or not we were getting Air 1 or getting
how
32s.
do I count people?
So even if someone is like
43
negative,
people in
there's no
here.
one to do Air 1, or I don't think anyone's available, that gives us knowledge of like, okay, we don't have Air
We were
1,
going to kill
let's
Titan, but
proceed
the
with
one
the
fella
scene.
with the extra stuff needed
As us not having
kept
Air 1,
dying getting to
not just waiting and kind of being like, okay, well, you know, we're unsure, we don't really know how to proceed, we don't know if we should wait for Air 1 because we haven't gotten an answer, we don't know if we should just, you know, jump in the water and look for people manually or call a code 4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I do feel that, like, you know, if the majority of people are on a big scene and someone's trying to communicate, you can also just tell them to stand by, you know? Like, if you just need a few seconds or a few minutes to just wrap up what you're doing, you could just say stand by, and then at least that person knows that someone's there, but they're just busy at the moment.
How
so,
big
like,
is a Titan?
and if you see that no one is responding, I think it was Bishop was saying, just say, listen, I'm not aware of the situation, but right now, you know, we're on a scene, or we're doing this, or we're doing that, and we're unable to give you a concrete answer. Like, as long as we get an answer, I think that, you know, will remove a lot of frustration. And yeah, I just think people should get used to just answering on contact.
Just even if it's just any answer, just
right.
I would love to place.
I don't know if you guys are familiarized with like real life, but there's like in real life, like police department, they have patrol division, traffic division, maybe like split up divisions. Like traffic division only focuses on 10-11s.
That's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, something like that. That could probably, and then you know, patrol.
But we've tried, and I guess not long enough. But
well, I mean, no one gave it a chance. You know what I'm saying?
So another thing we could do is, I don't know if you guys are familiar with how PD in real life works as well. You can also try the whole, you know, changing the radio channels like we do. Obviously, when we go 10-7, say you're on a call, you can tell, hey, we're going to go on this channel because this is for this scene, and you can switch channels for different scenes. It kind of calms down the radio clutter and makes it easier for everybody to communicate that way too.
Sometimes we do that.
We could also do shifts where, like, okay, for the next half hour, this group does this and the other group does that. But, like, I think if we do it for hours on end, I think that's where you'll probably lose people. If we do it for if we do short rotations, I think that might work maybe a little better.
Yeah,
Last time we did divide into 2 groups. We ended up going back to channel 1 because 199 was called, and 2 people on group number 2 started flying out. So there was only like 2 or 3 people left in the second group.
Right.
I mean, a 99 should be called for that group. You know what I mean?
Nah.
You don't think so?
No.
So it doesn't like include both groups. You know?
Well, here's the thing, right? Is that if you have 2 separate groups, and say you have 5 units, like 5 individual officers in each group, and then you get 199, right? They're obviously in a situation where officers are going down, and they might be outnumbered, or it could be something with TBG, or it could be at a compound, or it could be this or that. And then if it's just that single group, then it might get to the point where you've got 5 99s or 4 99s instead of just the one, and then having the other group being able to respond and help.
Proper radio communication.
A majority of the time that we get 99s is when people are outnumbered or outgunned or something like that, and they need the extra 32s. Like, they need people who can come and are available, right?
So I mean, if we're breaking up into 2 groups, and that's kind of like what we're talking about here. If you call a 99, though, it should come down to where both groups then come together, and it's not just one group.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it takes how many seconds to change a radio station? Like 1?
But if you're driving, then you have to stop.
No, you don't. You can press F10 or F11 and it changes it for you.
Yeah. You go down.
From 1, you go down and up?
Yes, you can go down and up
F10
now.
down and F11 up?
Yep.
Yeah. You go down.
Okay. I didn't know that. My bad.
No, that's why I was just saying, though, like, it takes 1 second and you don't have to stop. And so, say each group's on, say, one's on channel 3, and 9, you go down to channel 1, both groups.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I mean,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll talk about this amongst command and high command and come up with a solution and roll it out with, you know, clear directions and how things will work. You know, like rotation times and groups, etc. So give that a couple days, and then we'll get something going. Okay.
You know what would be a good idea? We could make some sort of list or something where it has like bank robberies group 1, house robberies group 2, and then in that order is how the groups rotate. Do you know what I mean? Like kind of like a Rubik's Cube type thing.
That's what we had.
Right, but like quicker times, like Genevieve I think was saying.
I mean, we'll figure it out. Like Ronnie said, we'll talk about it amongst High Command and figure out what's best. Because you guys have to remember, as amazing as some of these ideas are, how well they work for things IRL. Like we can be very limited on numbers sometimes. Like earlier today, it was myself and Bishop that responded to a call because other officers were tied up with other stuff. So we can have anywhere from 2 officers on duty to 20. Like on a really good day, we'll have over 20, right? But we don't have 40 to 50 officers where we can where it's like really easy to split people up into certain areas, so we have to keep that in mind too when we're thinking about it. So it's not that we don't want to hear any ideas right now, but I do want to keep the meeting rolling so we know we hear what you guys would like to be implemented, and we'll work on it, we'll discuss it and figure out how to move on from there.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to take over anything. Like I know that you guys have like final say in conversation stuff. It's just trying to suggest stuff which should just probably I guess be put in PD suggestions.
There are I mean technically it's RP suggestions, but I mean if you guys have any ideas or something, you could put them there and then we can look at it as well when we discuss it.
It's all good. No, it's a good idea.
I'd say this real quick, and then you can move on. At the end of the day, if you're on something, to say for an hour or something, like that's just what we're assigned to, and if we're on longer than what we are, like it just is what it is, like and then just move forward from it until like the next rotation goes on or something. So at times we just have to be okay with where we're at, and that's it, so.
Gotcha. All right. Any other questions? No. All right. Moving on next. A lot of us have noticed that you guys have not been filling out your MDT correctly. What is needed? So when you guys fill it out, it's a brief summary of the incident that happened, the weapons and confiscatable items that you've taken off them get listed there as well, the officers that helped you or that were on scene, the tags and whatnot. You got to fill that out as well. Define the time, the charges, and you got to put guilty and processed if not. All right. Evidence. I use ShareX as a clipping thing for my evidence and whatnot, but you guys may have used other things. You got to make sure you guys take screenshots of the evidence, because if we go to court and we don't have the evidence, we're fucked. All right. Any questions on the MDTs?
I will make a quick tutorial on ShareX and how to use it come next week, and then that way that'll be in there for people as well.
Yeah, right. I would like for you and Cameron to tackle that, Jeremy Lynn.
And please don't forget to include serial numbers where necessary, especially if you have bullet casings where you need the serial number of the bullet casing to match the weapon.
Yes, that as well. And I've noticed that you guys do not pick up any bullet sleeves at all. What's the need to carry, a flashlight and evidence bags if you guys aren't going to collect evidence? You guys know when you guys do a bank, you guys can get fingerprints, right?
So every time I've done a bank, I haven't been able to find fingerprints.
Really? I have no problem going in the bank and finding fingerprints when I do it.
A lot of
if they wear gloves, then you won't get any fingerprints.
Gotcha. Impounding vehicles, you got to put them under their profile, not the DMV, and you got to put inside the Discordia. If not, it's strikeable offense. I've been wasting my breath on that a lot. Following the chain of command. You guys got to follow the chain of command. Like, if it's not a dire need, there should be no reason that me, Stein, or any of the other alphas get emails about it, alright? That's just like something that really needs noticed, alright? With that being said, for the final question, how do you guys feel the state of PD is in right now? We'll go down the list.
Yeah, PK, let's do that, and then if they have any suggestions to improve PD, let's do that at the same time too.
Yeah, gotcha. Jake Moon.
You embarrass me.
Jake Moon. Going once. Going twice.
Old.
JP. JP. Going once. Going twice.
Oh, no, I'm good.
All right. Lily Moon.
Shit.
All right. What's the reason being for that?
I just like, I don't know. I feel like, fair enough. Like, obviously everyone knows in PD, like, you know, I'm quite, you know, forward and stuff, and I just feel like a lot of fun is being sucked out of PD, and like, I get it. We're role playing. I'm gonna talk about OOC, but we're role playing police officers in a PD department, and I get it, I do. But it gets to the point where it's like, right, well, I feel like I'm being pulled into meetings with HR. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever suffered with, like, I don't know, you've worked in a job in IRL and you've been pulled into an office and you come away from work and you feel that, like, work anxiety. For some reason, I've adapted this, like, new thing about the PDRP of, like, I'm anxious all the time. Like, I feel like you can't really speak to a lot of, like, I don't know, you just, I'm watching in the room. Like, I'm trying to overread the room now where I am. Where there was a point, like, when I first came to PD at the start, and it was like, you could just be how you were, wouldn't have to worry about hurting people's feelings. Like, you can't walk into a room full of 20 people and worry about who you're going to offend or worry about how people are going to take things. Like, one of the big things in my interview with PD was, like, have thick skin and whatever. Like, I get the whole, you know, making people uncomfortable, and I do think there's boundaries and stuff, fair enough, but it's just gotten to the point now, it's just, it's deflating, if I'm completely honest. Like, and I'm usually quite an overly bubbly person, and I'm so anxious, like, talking to people, like, stepping out of line, like, things being said behind your back, hearing stuff, like, through the walls. It's just shit. I'm not, this is just my personal opinion, you've asked. Like, it's just a shit atmosphere for me right now, I'm not gonna lie.
And how do you feel that we can improve that?
I just feel like I get, like, you know, introducing these new things to try and make it comfortable for everybody. I think we all need to remember, like, why we're here. We're here to have fun, like, have a good fuck around. Like, yeah, like, do the job, like, that we're on RP for. But we're here to, like, how are we supposed to let people's personalities come out when I feel like a lot of things that are being implemented are repressing parts of people's personalities? It's so, I don't know. I just think
what specifically are you talking about?
I'm not just talking in general, like, you know, like having a laugh and joke with people. I feel like I 100% are second guessing, like, everything. Like, I'm hearing things. I'm not going to name stuff because there's just no point getting into it. It's just nitty gritty. All I'm getting on at is that I'm second guessing, like, saying things out loud. Like, I'm a say before I think. I've always been that way. Like, and I know you guys know Lily in PD she's very, very outspoken. That's what I'm like in real life, you know. And
she's speaking more to, like, a whole atmosphere.
Yeah,
the
just
feeling,
like,
not just a specific event. I think.
Yeah, I'm not wanting to make anyone uncomfortable, but I'm just, I don't know. I'm coming on. I'm a lot more, like, silent.
Can I add something to that? Just because what Lily is saying is really something that I can relate to, because I feel like I've had the issue of, you know, being reprimanded multiple times, because a lot of you know that Jane Gomez is a very specific character, no filter kind of thing, and I have gotten in trouble a lot, and I used to take it really personally, and, like, what I've learned in all of that is there is a time and place to do or say certain things. And I feel like, Lily, you know, we all absolutely adore you, and you're allowed to make jokes and do things and say specific things. I think the main issue is being yourself and your own person and your own character, and then taking away the professionalism of the job, meaning, like you were saying, there are boundaries, right? Like with PDA, I think that's what was a main issue that was brought up and stuff like that. And I've had that issue before, like especially towards unprofessionalism, and it's just something that we have to work towards. But I don't think our goal is to suck away the fun, because that's not what we want to do. At the end of the day, this is a game.
Like, yeah, like I totally get it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like the PDA stuff, I'm not gonna lie, like I've honestly, being unfiltered, I probably called the majority of you daddy, mommy in here. Like, there's a joke going on PD, you know, like, and I know that my banter is very flirty and very, very over the top, and I know that, you know, I get it. I've reined it in. But what I'm talking about is like, I know, like, you're like, that's unprofessional though, like Jane, you were there a lot of the times when we would be found down back alleys and quickly tops off on top of the car, dancing, like having a laugh, like those moments, and then we get back to work, we get on with it. Like, I just feel like as much as everybody needs a 20 to their 80.
Right.
Like 80% being professional, working hard, doing everything we need to do, but also
the thing with that. The thing with that is that, you know, if we absolutely want to be able to do what we want when we want, I think that's when we're a civilian, right? Because we chose to work in PD, yeah, we can make jokes and have fun, and sometimes, you know, we do crazy stuff, but we still have a reputation to uphold, and that's something that I neglected for a very long time. And what we portray is what shows, or you know, on all of PD. And we have so many cadets right now. We have to show the example, because, you know, if we're out of line, the people we hire are gonna learn to be out of line all the time, right?
I just want to add,
monkey see, monkey do.
Right.
Yeah, just read your crowd know your crowd and read the
Yeah, you can choose who you say certain things to, and who. There are some people who are more strict, and that's totally fine. And there's some people who are more laid back, and you just, like Hayes said, you have to choose your crowd.
Also, this is like a serious RP server, you know what I mean? So like, some people are trying to actually make a career out of this, you know what I mean? So like, when they're streaming, you know, they're trying to stream, you know, provide content. Somebody's fucking around all the time, you know what I mean? And that makes sense. So I can see like both sides of the story, you know what I mean? Because like,
can I add something really quick? People were saying like I know everybody says this all the time, like, oh, you have to remember, like, at the end of the day, it's just a game. And, like, I know that's so true, but I feel like there's a lot of people in the city, and I'm not just talking about PD, I'm just talking about the city in general. Like, to some of us, it might just be a game, and, I mean, that's definitely how I view it. But, you know, some people take the city a lot more serious than others. And so I agree with Hayes. You have to read kind of your crowd, because there's scenes that I personally don't remember, as, you know, like that happened like 3 months ago or something. But it can be somebody's like first interaction with PD or something along those lines. And like, that tends to really stick with certain people in the city. I find sometimes people coming up to me and being like, oh, hey, you're like the officer that arrested me, or like did this, or blah, blah, blah. And I don't even remember it. And like, some people do. So it's like, I think you just have to watch what you do when you're around certain people, because as PD, sometimes you can make like a really big impact on people's first experiences in the city. Is just what I have to add.
I totally get it. I really do. It was more about the atmosphere within PD, not out with. And I get it, everyone's here for a serious RP, so am I. What I was getting on at is the repression of the personalities, because I'm too busy worrying about what other people are going to say, if I'm going to be reported, if I'm going to be hauled ass to a captain's office. It's just all those things, like, and your brain's going at a million miles an hour. And when I say that we need to remember why we're here, is that we're here to let that load off of that life is stressful, and this brings us joy and happiness, whether that's serious or not. that I wasn't trying to take away the serious aspect of the RP, and I'm not trying to disregard any of that.
Sounds absolutely awful.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of, RPs in their own way, obviously.
I can't tell what tone of voice you said that.
One of the biggest things being, though, is that not everyone's RP is going to line up. So while, you embody like lightheartedness and a lot of fun and things like that, other people aren't going to want to do that, and they also don't want to see things or hear things, etc., etc. And a lot of the times that what people don't see until you hit like certain levels of command and high command and whatnot are like the complaints or people, saying things like, hey, like I don't really want to see this all the time, or this is going on, across the board, whether that's from PD or from civilians. Like, you guys don't always see that. You do when, you see announcements made by certain individuals and whatnot, but it's usually discussed beforehand and other things are occurring that lead up to
Sky Club grand reopening 30 minutes.
So I mean, like if you call I don't know, I'm sure I've heard someone call Stein daddy or mommy at some point in time, and you guys know that you can do that with Stein, but you might not be able to do that with someone else. So stuff like that.
I just feel like there's a time and a place for that. You know what I mean? If they're in the middle of if you're in the middle of a fucking scene and you're calling somebody mommy or daddy, I feel like somebody's streaming. You know what I mean? Somebody in the server
in a sort of draining tone of voice.
On my Crim side, that they were streaming and
the
scene gets completely ruined because of something so stupid.
I could be wrong, but maybe it's.
But what I do want to add for like Lily and everybody else, if ever you do come to, because it happens to the best of us, and I think that's why a lot of us go on LOA every once in a while. We need a break, sometimes it gets overwhelming. We do get too caught up, in RPing and it's normal because we spend so much time on it. But like Lily, everybody, like if any of you are feeling down, the atmosphere is not to your liking, or you feel a certain way about certain things, like you can come to certain people and hopefully to all your higher ups and talk about it. We can sit down and talk about it. Like for anybody who is in PD, I know I'm only a sergeant, but y'all are welcome to come and chat with me, if you just need some uplifting or something. Like we're all here to be together, and we're all friends, hopefully, and we're a team. So if ever there is something and you're not feeling well, or you just need some cheering up, I'm here. I want everybody to know that I'm always here, and I'm sure other people are there as well for you.
Awesome. Okay, moving on. Logan, what's the state of PD in your eyes? Is there anything we can do to improve it, or any fixes we need?
Going once.
There he is.
Hello. I believe PD is. It's all. Everybody's got their own view. Everybody's gonna get it. That's just personal opinions. You see how you may. Everyone's got different glasses on. Like I see it. It's still fun. Like you have to read your own crowds, and like that's perfectly fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I get the fact that like we want to implement a lot of like real world like scripts of like dispatch and everything like that, but like when you're actually getting calls through dispatch, it's completely different from what I believe that you guys all think it is. It's literally radio silent all day until you hear someone. And like I know Dwayne can knows this. It's
all right, sorry for the inconvenience.
They'll tone whoever it is out, and then after that is dead quiet, and they switch to attack channel. And your attack channel.
Somebody to hire up, fixing the file complaint. All right.
Other than that, like nothing gets touched. And like I get that, like
fucking
we have
shoulder.
so many calls come through all the time, but if like you guys want to actually dispatch, like it would have to be channel 1 would have to just be dead silent all the time, and then it would just be
fucking shoulder
goes, and then you would switch to attack channel right away. And like it doesn't, you don't get a second to think about it. You just go to it right away. But I think it's fun. I know I've definitely taken a step back in hours, and that's just because I kind of pushed too hard at the start. But I believe it's still fun. You just gotta have the right people to interact with. I know we would get Dannies who just bullshit you, fucking twist your neck pretty much. But you just have to remember, like, they're gonna be trolls here, and there's gonna be people that actually enjoy the RP. But Lily said, like, we're all here at the end of the day to have fun, and like I do believe that we are here to have fun. If you're not, like, take a break. No one's saying that you can't, and it's healthy to take breaks. Go see something. Go explore somewhere else. Like, go do something that you enjoy for your own hobby, other than RP.
But I do understand there's restrictions on what you can and can't do as part of PD, which were intended for something like this.
Make
Yeah,
it
that's fair
fun,
enough.
but make
It's
it
not
fun.
as serious as like they're making it sound right now, like all the time, you know.
That's the funniest thing I've seen.
Tends to affect more kind of
But that's just
more cadet side of things at the start. The impression you get the cadets.
Okay. Don,
Try
state
not
of
to corrupt them
PD,
completely.
anything you'd like to see added to PD, anything we can do to fix it?
I think we're doing pretty good. Just I've noticed there's a lot of officers that are 10-8 just sitting at PD, and we are having calls all the time, and no one's going out to them. And I think we really need to work on that. Other than that, we're doing pretty good. We're getting better.
Okay. Molly?
I don't really have much to add. I kind of took a break recently from PD because I was kind of getting annoyed with some of the calls. I think, just like Cliff said, I think if you kind of overdo a bunch of hours and you're just constantly, you have maybe like a bad run of bad scenes, it can get a little annoying to clock in.
Yeah, it can get toxic real quick for sure.
Yeah, but recently I've been clocking in the past couple of days, and it's just gotten a lot better. I think the only thing that I've just like heard while on patrol recently is just some people are annoyed that like maybe there's like favoritism within cops, if they know certain crims, and it's just it's the way it is. Sometimes we spend more time talking to some crims because they get caught up more or we're in more scenes with them, but sometimes from an outside perspective, people can get annoyed by it, thinking that we favorite certain people. So
yeah, I mean, anytime that kind of comes up, right? Because there for a while, everybody was like, "Oh, PD favorites, TBG, blah 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 blah." Have a sit down meeting with them, or have them meet with the command member, and then ask them how many times they've been arrested, and then go through how many times that person they think is getting favoritism has been arrested. And 9 times out of 10, the person they think is getting favoritism has been arrested like 10 times as many times. So that's a really good way to kind of shut that down pretty quick. And just kind of going back to the W chasing and time, right now the times are kind of jacked up, so let's make sure, if people are being compliant, we're given very lenient times.
But like I can saying that we favoritism criminals, like I can definitely say I don't personally, because I'm friends with TBG, don't get me wrong, but like I've sent Spencer for 1,200 months. I sent another one, same scene, 1,500 months, and another one for 1,800 months. I made him sit in jail for 27 hours. I don't care. You're gonna piss me off. You're gonna serve me time.
I think all of us understand the dirty cop rule. So
I think
100%.
You're gonna be a dickhead. You're gonna get treated like a dickhead.
I think that issue might be more of a public perspective. I think we all understand it. But
let's move on down, Miss Raven.
So I think that there's a lot about communication between everyone. I mentioned that earlier. I think our communication for what we're doing and for the roleplay that we are supplying to the city, right, as police officers, as BCSO, as LSPD, as troopers, as rangers, whatnot, we need to be more on top of the communication. The main issue with scenes or conflicts that are inside of the departments, I think all stem from miscommunication. That's something that I've seen in the short time that I've been here, and it's only been, I'm like, it's my 1 month anniversary soon. Yeah, okay. But it's frustrating and it's hard, and communication is something we need to work on, as well as if we're pushing for professionalism, it's a standard that needs to be upheld for everyone. So, like, everybody needs to be leading by example for everyone else in the departments. If you push for professionalism, make sure that you yourself
mate, this thing.
Being professional and stuff.
Hey.
I'm not saying like the alphas specifically. I know it sounded like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying everybody. I think we need to work on patrolling Polito, and I think we need to have more units spread out because a lot of the times people that go to the meth
Tell me what
calls
I
or
missed.
calls in Polito and Sandy don't get there in time, and a lot of people get off.
Okay, but
We need to work on respecting who's primary on the scenes. So if someone's primary, they're primary, right? There's no need for other people to come in and be down in the cells talking to people. There's no need for someone to feel like they need to step in and take control. I've talked to Owen about this privately because, you know, it was something that had happened and it made me feel bad. It made me feel like I was being seen that I couldn't handle stuff. But it's stemming from everyone wanting to help each other, especially if someone's dealing with a suspect that is particularly, you know, rude or unresponsive or asking for another officer specifically. Like, there was a individual we arrested at Pillbox, and Frank was dealing with it, and that guy kept asking for Skidmore specifically and was refusing to speak to us, and it's hard sometimes, because if you're trying to do the report, you need to have, you know, communication with the suspect to get their name, to get their
fucking PD
guilty
general
or not
shit.
guilty. I just,
God damn.
like, if we're primary, let us be primary. Let us do our stuff. Unless, you know, like, someone's a cadet or we ask for help or something like that, just have confidence in the people who are doing stuff that they can do it correctly. And then if you see them do it incorrectly or they ask for help or you see a valid issue other than let me just step in because I feel like I can help, you know, like talk to them, be like, hey, do you want help with this? And respect the boundary of, you know, whether or not that person does want help or feels like they're in control of the scene. Because it's hard when you do a scene or it's a 1080 or something like that and you have people who aren't primary and you were primary take over the scene or kind of push you to the side, you know, like there's kind of got to be that respect between officers because all of us should be respecting each other, right? Like as much as we're a department, as much as we're whatever, we're still family, we still work with each other, we see each other almost on a daily. There's got to be that respect of I see you as primary, I'm gonna let you do your thing, I have faith in you, I trust you, there's something I can step in and help with, I'll step in and help with. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. I also think that there should be more transparency within all of the departments and within each other. If me and Lily have an issue, and it's not something that needs to be taken into the captain's office or sat about and talked about for half an hour or whatever, I would speak to Lily directly, right? Because I'd have that comfortableness, or Logan or Dawn or James or Dakota or Reese, I'd be like, hey, this thing kind of bothered me, can we talk about it? Like, resolve it. And then between the two individuals, even Owen, I spoke to Owen, we got on the same page, we resolved it, right? If it can't be resolved, or if it's something that, you know, should be taken in the captain's office, then I feel like it's great. But I think more on a personal level, we should be able to talk to each other. If there's issues, we should be able to one-on-one or even just call an alpha into the office and just talk to that person with someone else present. Because I just like it's very mechanical and it's very like weird to have to, like, I feel like I'm being pulled into the principal's office because I called someone a bitch. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's very informal or too formal, and I'd rather just be able to have a heart-to-heart with someone and, you know, resolve interpersonal conflicts with another officer. You know, just kind of again have that communication. And I think it would be something that we could do well, you know? Yeah.
Raven, can I touch on that really quick? Yeah, I wanted to say that kind of goes back to when we're talking about following the chain of command. Essentially, like, solve it at the lowest level possible before you bring it up to someone else, if that makes sense. So you go to that person, like what you're saying, like, go to the person that you know, you're may have an issue with, talk to them. If it's still not solved or it gets worse, like, then, you know, you follow the next person above, like, hey, or even,
exactly.
even if it's a rank above you, be like, hey, can you, like, come step in and see if we can help me solve this, etc., things like that. So that's also a part of following your chain of command and just solving it at the lowest level possible before someone escalates it all the way to an alpha or a commander and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, exactly. I just when I first started, I originally felt that when someone said that to me, it meant go to whoever was above me right away, and then I kind of, but we're good. I understand. I had something else. Hold on, give me a second. We already spoke about favoritism, right? I think that's good, maybe.
If it comes back to your head, just kind of like
Yeah,
say something after
I'll
someone's done speaking.
raise my hand.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, that's all I had. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay, awesome. We'll keep that in mind and discuss it amongst High Command. James Cadence.
I ain't got none.
Dakota.
I was kind of in the same boat as Molly, is like just taking some time off because like everything like kind of overwhelmed. But besides that, nothing really.
Okay. Awesome. Reese.
Everything looks good so far.
Okay. Johnny Montana.
Nothing too much really, except for pretty simple, just morning shift. Morning shift's pretty damn dead.
Yep.
But,
it really is.
No, we just did a job fair this morning. Hopefully that'll kind of help that out a little bit.
Okay. Maybe do another one, like Monday morning or Tuesday morning.
Yeah, we're gonna do a couple through.
I think that might be best like on the weekends for like the EU, because I don't know what the EU like jobs are, but I don't know if they like work the same schedules as.
Yeah, we really
PM players.
We really need someone to do one at like 5 a.m. We need someone to host just make a P alert in the sky saying, "Hey, we're having a job fair for PD. Come by MRPD," and then interview them. Let's not hire on the spot anymore. I think Camber had a good idea there, but let's get we definitely need some more morning shift. Kenzo.
Nah, I'd rather not. I'm good.
Okay. Camber.
Hello. I think things are going overall fairly well. I think we've come a long way from where we were, 4 or 5 months ago. I personally would like to see us, and I know this is in the works, but I'd like to see us use more presence north, like in and around Blaine County, Grapeseed, Paleto, which is Blaine County and growing. I'd also like to see more use of our subdivision certs like K9, Naval, SWAT, things like that, Detective. I think there's a lot of opportunity for us for some cool rolling papers there, and for people that start to maybe get burnt out on the day-to-day grind of patrolling, there might be some relief opportunities to be found for them in a different style of rolling papers there. So yeah, I think it's I know we have lots of things in the works, but I think we're generally doing well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Sir, A's.
Hello?
Hello.
You hear me?
Yep.
Alright. So, I've been noticing in BCSO department, there's not much people from the EU region. In PD, we have about 6 or 7 of us, maybe 8 from the EU region. Most of them are sergeants. However, in BCSO, they're mostly in the United States or in the US in the Americas continent. So I was thinking maybe if we can hire more BCSOs and see if we can get people from EU to be ranked up in BCSO as well. Because we've been focusing too much on PD right now. We already have about 9 or 10 people from EU and PD.
Okay.
And yeah, he just Montana already touched on the morning shift being dead as hell, which is the graveyard shift. We all know it.
Yep.
That's about it. I'll try to make some time off of my day, about 5 p.m. EU time, which is Greenwich Mean Time, and see if we can hire people more from the EU. It's just that the city only has like 100 people, from 60 to 100 people during that time, so it's gonna be a bit rough.
Yeah, I understand that for sure.
Can I raise my hand?
Yep.
So I just wanted to also mention 1080s. I think we need more 1080 practice. Whether it's in city or practicing up in like Sandy and Polito, just because we're 1050ing a lot. And
I was about to touch on that. Keep going,
sorry,
keep
Hayes.
going.
Sorry.
Keep going, keep going, just keep going.
It'd be good if we could have some sort of practice. Like, you know how you did the SWAT practice and stuff like that? Maybe we could do some sort of like have it at different times so then everyone has access to it, just with like learning how to double clutch, or maybe practicing drifting and stuff like that around corners and, you know, tight spots, like driving where the trains are and in the tunnels, just because they're hard places that suspects or, you know, criminals and stuff like that have more free time to practice driving through, and that's where we can really get tripped up on. And then the other thing was public relations. I think PD should hold, I know we just held fight night, but I think we should hold more events to get more positive sorry, positive yeah, positive publicity. Shut up. Positive publicity towards PD and stuff like that. Like maybe, wow, we could do a race. We could do a paint a cruiser fundraiser, or like some cool stuff. We could do a car wash. We could do some sort of manhunt. Like there's so much stuff that we could do to have more interaction on a positive note instead of just in the cells and arresting people. And I think if, you know, more people in city who already have negative views on us, or who are pissed because we arrest them and stuff like that, get to know more officers without having like favoritism issue, just like in general, they might have more encouragement to come to job fairs instead of people who are coming into the city with the intention of already applying for PD. Do you know, does that make sense?
Yeah, if you ever have any ideas, feel free to shoot them our way, and we'll get something going.
I have so many ideas, I'm gonna annoy you.
That's fine.
Yeah, don't forget about the RP suggestion channel, and then we still have a lot of people to get through. So let's just
yeah,
sorry,
I'm done. I'm done.
But just real quick on the 1080 thing. So as y'all being aware, criminals have been doing jumps. They've been evolving. They've been getting smarter. We've seen criminals all the time do jumps and get away from us during jumps. So Dancer and I have put our brains together, and we're trying to figure out how can you say this? Like a route in some kind of way where there will be a certain amount of jumps, and it will be a hard route to follow through. It's gonna be like a 1080 practice, but with a lot of jumps. I don't know if PK wants to help us out with it.
I was about to say I would get with PK on that for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna get it together. So 1080 course will be ready. It's in the works. It will be up soon.
Awesome.
That's about it.
Okay, Mr. Dancer.
Level up for PRC.
Cameron Dancer. All right, we'll move on. Elias, start.
I mean, I haven't been a PD that very long, but I think just the W chasing is something that has to get brought up. You know, I know it keeps getting mentioned and stuff like that, but I feel like it's something that needs to really get broken down and explained to PD as a whole. You know what I mean? Just like, you know, kind of so they understand from like, you know, other perspectives, or like, you know, what we're thinking of and stuff like that.
100%.
That's really all I gotta say.
Okay. John Gotti.
Alright, I'm gonna break it down. I'll make it fast and short because I know you don't want to stay here all day. What is this, like the second or third meeting, Ronnie?
Yeah, let us be the ones to kind of break it down.
So I feel like nobody's really given examples of W chasing. Like W chasing is like when I get hit off of a fucking bike and then I get caught right after, or like 1 minute into a bank robbery scene, somebody's laying down spike stripes. Those are like W chasing scenarios. You know what I mean? I feel like but also like more like RP from cop side. You know what I mean? It's just like when we're on bank robberies, you know,
like kind of take it a little bit serious. You know, like we have somebody's life on the line. You know, because you know they do have some people do have streamers, and you know when a cop comes in, it's like, what do you want for these hostages? You know, like, you know, make it exciting. You know, you got to make it fun. You know what I mean? Because you know there's some groups. You know, there's obviously Danny's and some groups that you see there on the regular. You know, majority of the groups that you see on the regular are trying to actually like make a career out of RP side.
And with that being said, I feel like it could be on both sides, both ends. Y'all can make it fun for PD as well. But there's some times that you guys, you know, sometimes y'all criminals do some powerful things. I won't say all criminals. You know, sometimes PD don't have bikes. You know what I'm saying? You guys get helicopters and stuff like that. There's no way to combat that, but to the stuff that we can only do, you know, is to shoot at the wings. And you guys get mad when we shoot at the wings, but you know, that's a pretty much getaway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
And then you guys stash like 5 or 6 bikes when you can only have, you know, 3 units on a chase. So, you know what I mean? It's gotta be thought of on both sides, you know. It's not really W chasing, but if we have to do something to, you know, try and even out the playing field, then that's what we want to do, if that makes sense.
Or maybe on PD side, maybe lower the so you can get the certifications to become.
It's not even the bike issue, Gotti. It's the fact that we can only have 3 units on a chase. So if you have 6 people in a scene, like a gun run, for instance, right? And then you all have 6 bikes set up somewhere, we literally can't chase every bike. Like we literally don't have the units on scene to do that. That's kind of what he's getting at, and that's happened before for sure.
Yeah, I mean on Crim's side, you know, I try to make it as fun as possible from both sides. Like I'll go from a car chase to a boat chase to a bike chase, you know. So I don't know, it's just basically more RP. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, you know, just.
And I'm fine with those scenes. I'm just saying, like, there's been several scenes where I'm in a chase with, and there's just.
I think better instances that Gotti might be talking about. Like there's definitely instances where, like, let's say we go to a house robbery, right? And the guy decides to run out of the house. Even though he probably shouldn't run out of the house because PD probably has a gun or a taser pointed at him. He does. He's running towards a car. Don't tase him and cuff him. Let him get in the car and have a chase. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's a chase.
Sometimes excessive force is a problem. Like, I have to meet many times.
Like, just extend the scene. If you take the L, you take the L. It's not a big deal. Everybody's here to have scenes. If they want to get in the chase, let them have their chase. You know.
Well, I will on an example that happened to me earlier today. Hopefully, it doesn't get us in trouble. But like me and one other officer showed up to a warehouse. We're the only officers on scene, and like they're trying to get away. So to make it fun, the suggestion was, why don't we switch roles? Why don't you guys chase us? Not exactly serious, but they chased us, and granted, they got away because they ended up catching us. But it was just a way to make the scene fun.
What the fuck?
It didn't matter if they got away.
What was it?
There was one
it 5
scene where
minutes
we
into
had
the
all
morning?
the cops drive bikes to chase us. It was just a bike chase. It was like we're fucking doing a marathon. So.
And the warehouse guys did go along with it. It was actually a lot of fun.
They did.
Yeah, and the other day with a few other officers, we had this hostage situation, and I was the negotiator, and instead of going through the regular process of, you know, asking for the demands and this, and I decided to try and de-escalate the situation, and I was able to get the guy to put his weapon away and give up the hostage, and everybody walked away safely. So, and that was great rolling papers. So, like, don't be scared to go out of your comfort zone and try something different, you know?
RPW right there.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. I don't know who I think Hayes was there, a few other people were there, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all here to have fun, including the Crims. Yes, I know we all get on each other's nerves, right? We all do stupid shit sometimes, but you have to remember nobody's perfect, right? We can communicate things out after the fact. Let's just make sure we're keeping everything in city. That's one of the most important things. Even if you feel like you were wrong, don't go OOC with stuff.
And I want to break it down. I feel like no favoritism gets breaking down here because I'm friends with majority of people here, and they booked me for 800 months. So I feel like no favoritism goes on around here.
All right, let's kind of we still have a lot of people to get through, guys.
All right, one last thing. I feel like heavy armor should not be stolen from cops, and that's it.
Okay, interesting. All right,
Jeffrey Davis.
Jeffrey Davis.
one thing I just want to mention is the W mentality. Like instantly tackling people, instantly tasing people. It's one thing I don't do, but I don't know. I'd like to move away from that. You know what I'm saying? If somebody get down, you instantly tase them, instantly tackle them. I don't like that at all. So if we could work on that, I try to give them 3 or 4 warnings before doing either one. But other than that, yeah, this shit is cool, man. I'm having a lot of fun.
But I feel like the Danny deserves a tase. Like you can tell like who's a Danny and who's not a Danny.
Yeah,
You know what I
John,
mean?
PD Doe's a Danny.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Out
Okay.
criminal.
Let's go on down. Owen
Owen.
Peters.
I kind of wanted to add on to what Raven was saying with communication. I will agree it's a really big thing. And for instance, me and Richie the other day, we were in Air One, and we responded to an officer getting taken hostage, and he was in the alleyway. We had people going back and forth saying, "Shoot him! Don't shoot him! Shoot him! Don't shoot him!" The officer's down anyway. Just shoot him. Oh, don't do this, don't do that. And then it's conflicting when there's people who, not to say people shouldn't have a say, but if someone, there's command on scene or something, maybe not going on radio, say, just shoot him, just shoot him. Because, then me and Richie did open fire on him because we heard so many people just say it and we didn't know what to go off of. And then, he ended up getting brought back and continued the scene, but still it's just like something. Yeah, and I think it's like even with uniforms or other word, how it used to be, it's gotten a little better with it, but like how some command will say, oh, this is this is acceptable, and this summer and be like, no, why are you doing this? Like and then it's just a back and forth thing on what's right and what's wrong.
Confusing.
Yeah, but that's, other than that, I mean, I don't really have too much. Most of what I would have had to say was already said, so.
Alrighty. Anthony. Bonito.
This one probably has to deal with like the heist thing. Maybe we could bring it up to the government, like where they start off with a regular vehicle initially, but can't start off with a motorcycle, and maybe put like where they could stash at least one motorcycle along the way, and then they could use that to get away, but not. Maybe we limit how many motorcycles they can use to get away.
Bike units available, and then if not, ask them if they can grab a car.
You can't do that in the middle of a scene, Raven.
Wait, I'm sorry. You want to limit the amount of bikes used in a getaway? Is that what you're?
Right. For like the criminals, since we don't, if they get off their initial getaway vehicle and they get into 6 bikes, it kind of messes us up because we don't have that many units to, follow all 6. Right.
On Crimson, it takes 2 minutes for anything to like start like going on a bike or 2 people interfering. So on Crimson you gotta wait 2 minutes to do any of those things, like hot bikes or have 2 more people enter the scene.
Gotcha. All right. Anything else, Bonito?
Nothing else. Anybody that I had interactions with, where it's just all jokes, I had a great time. Anyone that like, stays in character and it's like serious about the whole RP and being an officer type thing, I had fun as well.
Awesome. Good to hear. Mayhew.
I don't think I have anything that hasn't already been said.
Gotcha.
All right. Arthur?
Most of what I was going to talk about has already been said. The only thing I'm going to reiterate on, write the goddamn impound report. I am sick and fucking tired of having to look through.
Morgan's done. He's done.
For literally like
He
10
left his
minutes, I'm looking
Oh
through.
yeah, sorry, it's not
and I
accurate.
cannot find it. I am sick of it.
Hold on, there we go.
I have let go of probably
You don't wanna
10 vehicles.
You don't wanna watch the entertainment over there.
Mind you,
watch
I've
the
only
wall.
put a very small amount of hours in for me. But letting go of that many vehicles, we have got to start writing the reports on that shit.
So, if I may, when you do searching, like if they don't write it properly in your profile, when you search in the Discord, are you manually scrolling? Or are you
I
control
am manually
Fing?
scrolling it.
You can search for the
Okay.
name at the
You
top
can,
right.
yes, or you could do control F while you're in impound log and just search up the license plate.
I do both of
it'll
them.
go straight
If
to it.
it doesn't bring up, what I do is I do the license plate on first and then the name. If it doesn't pop up either or, I'll scroll through it, and I've had to let go of so many vehicles because nobody has done the impound report.
Damn. Okay. Alrighty. Fill out those impound reports.
Oh my god, who's
Gomez.
aggressively typing?
Oh, sorry.
Who's next?
Gomez, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to touch on like I think it was Raven saying, for like a 1080 course. I think once a month, especially since we have so many new people, and even for older people, I think we should have refresher courses on that touch a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's
kind
what
of
I
like,
put in the. Sorry.
yeah, like I think like for hostage situations and like just stuff like that, things that we go through in academy. I think we should like have refresher courses, and people can attend or not, or choose not to, but at least it's done, and we can't say that the training's not there, right?
Yeah, I put that in RP suggestions. That's crazy.
So I
On
do
the thing
think
way late.
So I do think that that's something that could be really good. And also something that personally not bothers me, but I just think I don't even know how to go about this, but supervisor roles. I think that we've been handing out a lot of, or promoting a lot of people to supervisor role, and I think that's great because I do think that everybody works towards, moving up in PD and all of that, but I do think that the past months it's been more or less easy to become a supervisor, and I've seen stuff like people that are in relationships within PD. If one gets reprimanded, the other one gets super worked up about it. That shouldn't be happening. It should be like, if, for example, I'll say for myself, if Montana were to get reprimanded for something, I shouldn't have a say on it because it's a conflict of interest.
We're nearing the end here. We're getting towards the end.
Does it make sense what I'm trying to say here?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I've seen a lot of conflict of interest, and I think that is an issue, and it creates conflicts within people in PD. So I don't know if we should maybe put specific, like if there's, how can I say that?
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think cousins shouldn't have conflict of interest either.
What do you mean by that?
Just because if your cousin knows something, they shouldn't know.
Oh, 100%. And just to add to that, people, please do not go around asking people if they have cousins. It shouldn't ever be asked. Like, really, I don't know about anybody else, but that's one of my biggest pet peeves is when people come up to me and they're like, oh, do you have a cousin? It doesn't matter if I do or not. I'm a complete different person. This is my character, and so be it, like.
Yeah, in regards to roleplay, technically
Right.
your cousins will never interact. They will never be in the city at the same time. They're not supposed to know of each other or know anything about each other. Like, those are two different people who are never going to meet because they can't be in city at the same time.
Yeah. So anyways, to go back to the supervisor roles, I think moving up from cadet to P1, P2, P3, I think that should be a normal process. The better you get, the more you get up rank. However, when it's time to hit supervisor role, I do think that there should be specific standards put in place. I do think that I do think it should be harder to get into that role. if that makes sense. I don't know if that's something that alphas or high command can look into, but I do think we should pick and choose who we put into that role.
Have tests for different stuff, like make it so that
Yeah.
there's more A3 and stuff like that to make
Yeah.
sure the person is knowledgeable and fit.
And like I'm a sergeant, and with like things that have changed, like in the SOPs and all that, I mean, like as a sergeant, I feel like a lot of privileges that I had as a sergeant has been taken away. Meaning, I can't do academies anymore. I used to do plenty of interviews. I can't do that anymore. There's a lot of things that I can't do anymore because that's been taken away, and that's totally fine. But I think I was discussing this with Owen. I think we're really short on like lieutenants to do academies and stuff like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Owen. But I think that we should look into, like when we promote people, looking into like, do we really need that many people in that role or vice versa? So anyways, that's all I wanted to say in regards to the supervisor roles.
So what I could say is, with that being said, with the supervisor role, I can touch on that real fast. Reason being that it got like bumped up was because there wasn't, when you guys were, I'm not saying I can't put the blame on just one person, as use it as a group. When you guys were doing that, they weren't being like properly trained, because whenever I asked questions, get them wrong, if that makes sense.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm not saying it's just one. I'm not saying it was all you guys. I don't know, but whenever you guys were doing the FTOs, when it was at that rank, certain rank, they weren't meeting the criteria. If that was making sense, if that makes sense. Like
But
people being passed on and whatnot.
Right. But my main thing also is I do feel like a lot of people are being promoted to supervisor role. I think it should be a little bit more difficult to become a supervisor, in my opinion.
Trust me, it is.
It is.
I think there's a couple things that have been talked
really quick
about
on
in
the
the past that is gonna be like a mandatory thing that you have to do before becoming a supervisor, but I'm not 100% on that. Go ahead, Molly.
So, I think Jane brought a really good point about like cousins not knowing stuff about each other, because, and I talked to some other people too. This was an issue. I can't remember the scene. It's been like a couple weeks, but it's kind of annoying when some of y'all's cousins gets arrested and you guys are just like talking like codes and stuff. Like, how does your cousin know the codes? You know, like, and they're just like telling us everything we did wrong in the scene and just like telling us all these codes and stuff. And like, I mean, I understand there's mistakes that happen in scenes, and you know, a lot of that got addressed in this meeting, but I just don't think that it's cool that like a cousin gets arrested and they're just like saying all these codes and, you know, like
You did this
nitpicking.
wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And I just don't think that like any normal civilian would know any of that stuff. So it's just like kind of annoying.
Which is true.
I wouldn't mind interjecting there, actually. Like, we see in our current environment, outside the city, people are constantly quoting laws to law officers. I'm not saying that as a crim, you should be utilizing your information from law enforcement to call out all
Almost makes you miss the
anything else
pictures.
that someone says. But what I'm saying is, many people can just take a few days to study state laws and understand very many of them. So it's actually not that tough to learn.
With laws, yeah, but specifically
SOPs.
TENCOs and SOPs.
Like SOP
yeah,
knowledge.
no, that's quite different, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, if they're just quoting laws and everything like that at you, or even just a couple 10 codes, probably not that crazy.
Okay. Gomez, anything else?
If you get some, yeah, just raise your hand.
No, I lost my trail of thought, but you guys can continue.
All right, Dawson.
All right, I think probably not too much more new to say other than what you've already directly, Bronny. But I think I empathize with Illy a small bit. I mean, I don't personally view the PDA as professional and all that good stuff, but it doesn't mean that I particularly fucking hate it. I think it's more of a personality thing, and there's just a time and a place, and maybe there's a balance that needs to be struck more than rather than. I don't know. I know it's outright. As per one of the latest announcements, it's outright just not allowed anymore, per se. But personally, I can see your point, Lily. But there's also probably a balance there. So you know, I don't enjoy people not enjoying themselves. Like I don't like to hear that shit. So I'm sorry that it is like this at the moment. Hopefully, you know, over time we start to kind of strike more of a balance, and maybe this is just for the best at the moment. I don't know.
I know this is probably going to be PDA, but if I could, I would give you a cuddle right now.
Don't worry about it. Don't
There
worry
you
about
go, cutie.
It's gonna be a strike point, Lily.
I forgot to say something.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Can okay. About strike points. So I don't know if we're still doing it, but we used to give out strike points either for a real issue or just out of like for fun. I've come across a lot of incidents where whether it's for fun or not, people don't react well to it. So I don't know if there's a way to just make strike points used for real issues, and not for fun anymore, because I just feel like it causes drama for no reason, and I just don't see the point in it. And if we want to stick to the whole professionalism thing, I don't think strike points should be used to fuck around anymore. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I have heard a lot of people complain about it.
I agree with that.
Strongly agree.
100%, PK.
There was a situation the other day where somebody had been striked, and like obviously my immediate, I acted on it, and like again doing something without thinking, and then later to come find out it was a joke. But then I was sitting there and I was like, but then it makes me look like an idiot, and then if somebody else was to speak on it, it makes them look like an idiot. So I completely agree.
This actually doing the strike points in the channel, or is it joking like, oh, what are your numbers, buddy? Oh yeah, that's a strike.
Actually doing it in the channel and where everybody can see it.
Okay.
And I'm also wondering, again, in regards to the strike points, is there a way to make it as of only, I don't know how we would do this, but only supervisors could see it? However, like...
No, we already tried that, and the reason being is people need to learn from other people's mistakes so they don't make the same.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right, because I was going to say it's less embarrassing if not everyone has access to it, but...
It's also, like, if you're doing something wrong, have it in the back of your mind that, like, if I fuck up and I get striked for something, it's going to be, like, my peers will be able to see that I'm fucking up.
Right.
Right? Because I know that, like, when I got striked, I was like, oh, fuck. Like,
Okay.
I thought I was doing so well.
I'm not trying to be
continue,
mean here.
continue.
We are almost done with everyone. I really want everyone to get a chance to talk before we keep losing people.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I think Goma is going to mention my next point, just about the strike points. Maybe I think the difficulty is because we have cadets coming in and they have to learn the SOP and what our culture is about within PD. As much as you want to make it professional, we're a group of people from all across the fucking planet with different tolerances for different shit, and you just kind of have to integrate yourself into the culture of how PD is, and that's defined by the high command and everybody else. I think the consistency is hard to achieve there with the strike points, or maybe the strike points is probably the easiest to achieve the consistency. And if we leave the messing around shit out of the strike points, at least with other stuff it's contextual and it's who you know and how well you're used to people and getting to know everybody in the department. I think it's personally fine to fuck around a small bit, because otherwise if we take it too seriously we're going to cry.
Agree, and keep in mind that, sorry, Dawson.
Work away, yeah.
Just keep in mind that striking you guys is part of our supervisor RP. So I get some people get butthurt over it. I have in the past. I really, really have. I was probably the worst. But it's part of our RP. We have to do it as, again, PD is a job. You have to get reprimanded if you do something that's out of the norm.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But yeah, I don't. In terms of the W chasing topic, I might be completely wrong, Gotti, but you keep going on about it. Well, not keep going on, but you've mentioned a bike a couple of times now, and if that's about the scenario that we were involved in together with you and your crib, you headached into me. All right, I have footage, so relax. Okay.
Well, I don't think it was anything specific, Dawson. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
need to do
Oh,
that.
no, I'm saying it half jokingly. It's all right.
Okay, yeah, well,
Jesus.
it
Relax.
seemed a little-
Relax, Bronny. Relax.
Might be.
Nobody's calling out anybody. Okay, that's
Oh,
going on
shit.
going on to my next point. Going on to my next point, right, which is kind of tied into that. I feel like a lot of the problems are built up in our heads quite often, and yeah, just talk to people, one on one. I would think, which kind of resolves a lot of the tension because, like someone else was saying beforehand, maybe I think it was Goldie, that it does get quite professional and quite intimidating at times when you're, being reprimanded in RP, or potentially an intense RP scenario, and you're kind of reprehensive or apprehensive to approach somebody about it and discuss about it and what they think of you afterwards. Because I'll say it straight out, like, Bronny, I love you, but you're a fucking pain in the ass sometimes. But when I talk to you afterwards, I feel a lot better. And other than that, justice from my boy JP. Thank you very much.
Okay, Dawson, is that everything?
10-4.
All right. For the sake of time, I don't want anyone else interrupting the next person who speaks until we're done with the meeting. All right? I'm not trying to be mean. I just want to get through everybody and take a long time. So please, no more interrupting. If you have something to say, write it down, put it in, type it up in suggestions, whatever you need to do. But no more interrupting, please, guys.
And 9.
All right. Who said that?
Strike.
There's a strike.
Oh, you, Bronny.
Let's see who's next. We got Jack Corder.
I just think everything's great. I just feel like we should have like a buddy system. I know it sounds stupid, but I feel like nobody should ride by themselves. You know what I mean? No matter what the situation is, it's just more safe for the officer in general.
Well, that's something we can talk about. Anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay, Bishop Rain.
I'll try to make this quick. First off, being in the unique position of having been here when it was Red District and watching little baby Bronco in diapers rise up, and then coming back into the city now as a cadet, I will say
Sky
that
Club Grand reopening.
the city is better, guys, and the department you guys are all in. You guys weren't in the department that some of us grew up in. This is a pretty rockin' department comparatively. It's come a long way, and I think some of the command has done a lot of hard work to make that happen. Not to kiss their ass too much here. Fuck all you guys. But I think that I've been in some other cities too. I've been in cities where the last city I came from was Gold Rush, which was a very, very strict PD system. Like, it was serious all the time. There was write-ups, and I know that we want to be serious, and there's some serious RP, but we also want to have a good time. I think there's a good balance, and I think right now we're close to that. Obviously, you're always going to need to work on it. It's always going to be a work in progress, and it's never going to be perfect. And some of the complaints that I've heard you guys all have, I've heard in every city I've been in with every PD department, and it's always something that you always need to work at. Not that we shouldn't still complain about it, and that we shouldn't still bring it up in meetings. I'm just saying that it's
universal.
Something that, right, we all need to keep working on it. My suggestion that I would have, and I don't know if it's just because the people I've been riding with know who I am, so they don't need to, so I don't know how it is for other cadets, and I know that there's some other cadets beneath me here who are probably going to get to voice up, but the training, I don't know, at least for me, it's a little lackluster. It could be just my perspective because the people I've been riding with know me, and they know that I probably don't need as much hand-holding. I would suggest, the one suggestion I would give, and the one thing that I would take away from the city I came from, is you get rid of the academy program altogether, and instead you get a FTO certificate program instead. You put a lieutenant or captain or commander in charge of this department or this branch. They set up a checklist document for every cadet. They are in charge of the FTOs who get certified. FTOs, every time you take someone on a ride, you give check-offs on the cadet that you're writing on will be a Google Doc or whatever you want to use. When the person's done, they take it to the training command. There'll be a whole like separate little group of sergeants, commanders, whoever. They get the final say of whether or not someone needs to be checked off and evaluated. And then when that cadet is ready, they're pushed through based off that recommendation. That would be my only suggestion. But yeah, that's all.
Okay, Miss Rain.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
I just came back. I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah. So there's really not much to add. I've only been, I think, active once or twice. But I will kind of add in with Bishop, where I'm kind of coming back to PD. I've been off of doing any PD work for about 6 months, so I'm kind of have to retrain everything. And I find it very odd that I come in and like nobody really wants to work with a cadet. There are some people that are love to, and there's other people that don't, especially when they're like, oh, they don't know anything. I really don't want to deal with it. So to have a group of people that like to do that and have them be like, okay, let's be the group that trains people. So they have like the certifications, they have a checklist, all that kind of makes the cadets feel like, okay, people got their stuff together. I know who to go to if I need help. And it kind of leads to people who really hate working with cadets, where they can kind of not deal with them all the time, but know like, okay, this person's really having troubles. Let's send them to the FTOs and get them retrained. So that way it kind of balances out, but not clog the radio system or help people kind of get a foot in, if that makes
Girl,
any sense.
if you have ever felt like someone hates working with cadets, please come see a higher up, because that should not be happening.
No, I've only been 2, so I just know some people feel that way when it's not actually it, if that makes sense. People who come into a police area, everyone knows who's, their supervisors. They have the close connection. So you're kind of, these cadets are coming in into an already made family. So they feel like the outsiders. So they kind of have to have someone who's set up to be like, let's bring those outsiders in. Makes the people feel a little bit more comfortable. If that, because I think a lot of the times everybody gets comfortable in their positions, not realizing a lot of people are not comfortable. So yeah, that's all I have.
Come find me, cadet. Come find me. Kick these people asses.
Alrighty, Tyrone. Oh yeah, he messed it. Sean. Anything you wanna add or talk about?
Yeah. I don't really have much. Kind of just agree with what both the Rain said. I kind of feel that. I know Dawson, he's really good, and Gomez, they're really good. Like every time I'm in the city, they're down to let me ride with them and shit. But like yeah, I kind of just I agree with what they just said. That's it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've noticed Sean multiple times not getting ride-alongs. Multiple times. Literally have to call it out on radio, even if he asks for a 10-12 like 5 times. So we do need to get better about that. But let's go down. Juan Potter.
Going once.
He's watching.
Going twice. All right.
No, for the highest bidder.
Kennedy's been deafened for a while.
Yeah, Kenneth Steele.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I want to build a little bit more trust with our citizens, and some of these great ideas that were mentioned above were pretty sweet for that. But I also think maybe we need to make them feel safer. Maybe on occasion show up at the apple farms and make sure everything's safe over there, or show up at the quarry, or even in the city, show up at the processing for like the rocks into gems. Because then if they feel safer and see like our presence taking care of them, then they're going to trust us more and like us more anyways. And then they'll actually want to come to all our events.
I'm not gonna lie. I've tried that. Every time I pull up, they were saying, what the fuck's PD doing here? Shit like that, so.
It's gonna be that way at first, of course, because they're not used to it. But like, if you show them, like, even when they're being hostile, like, you gotta remain calm with it. And I really think we could eventually start to felt a little bit of change there. It's kind of like when we add new systems. You gotta, it's gonna be gritty at first, but then once you push through that initial time, then it's like it can be very changing.
Gotcha. All right.
That's all I got. Yeah.
Gotcha. Ivan. You're right.
I'm good.
All right, it's Stein Demos. Cadet 1.
No, I'm good.
Dwayne. Going once.
Hello? Oh, there
Hello?
we go. Yeah, I think I'm fine. I'm good.
All right. Skidmore. Want you to join us?
Thank you. I'll take my
Anything
short
to say?
points gladly. It's very sleepy. No.
I guess I got some. We kind of talked about it, but like having fun. Like I'm not gonna lie, when I go to Toledo, obviously I know they're selling drugs with all the locals there and shit, but like we don't know that. So like, it's so fun just to go interrogate or press the fuck out of someone until they like fold. It's so funny to do. That kind of stuff, like house robbery devices. Like we don't know that those are house robbery devices unless they admit to robbing a house. You guys know what I mean? Like it's a tablet. It doesn't say house robbing device. It's that kind of stuff. I need to kind of work on a little bit.
100%.
I will say something.
Go ahead.
I just want to touch back on the like RP over everything. Like that's my big thing is like we don't need to get the W's. I know it's been talked about because it was brought up, but definitely somebody has a good like rolling paper reason for doing something, let them go. Like it's fine. It's really okay. Really okay. We're not gonna be mad.
Gotcha.
And I'm still seeing some like class 3 usage when they're shooting pistols at us and stuff like that. Like I really hate still seeing that. So let's be better with that also.
Gotcha. Pav, you want to add anything? Is he here?
I think that might be a pass. He unmuted and muted.
Okay, gotcha. I will add, I have been slacking on doing any like PD events. I used to host a lot of PD trainings and whatnot. I'm gonna try to get back into that. But command members or supervisors, if you guys are free, and feel free to ask if you can, do anything. I used to do a lot of aim training, but we'll shoot for like a breach training for everybody. I think I did that like a week and a half ago or something up at Humane. Any ideas, please? Feel free to bring it up. We can always do it. I saw a couple suggestions about like PD racing and whatnot. Seems like fun. I'll come in first. Stein, I'll come
PD
in
car
last.
wash could be pretty cool.
Yes, please, God.
PD car wash?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get my bikini ready.
Yes.
I think all men should be in speedos. Hell yeah.
Or like a PD hunting event.
I have an outfit for it already.
I'm not wearing a speedo, but I'll hold the tablet for y'all.
Can I just comment on Dwayne's one thing there, just real quick, real fucking quick. I feel like if people are confused over like what to view as like the name of an item and in relation to what you can charge them with, I feel like it's just safer if you go, okay, suspect, what's this you got? Like, and then let them fucking role play it out, give them an opportunity about it, and go from there and see what happens.
Like if I see like a gun-ized device or like house robber, I'm like, oh, what's this tablet used when about it? No, like my grandma gave me
Yeah,
for Christmas,
yeah.
something like that. Whatever, let them keep it.
But that's all. Yeah.
It's like for scenes too. So like I was saying in Toledo, like yes, I see that they're there's a bunch of locals and they're selling drugs, but like I have to go ask them that. Like I can't just like, oh, he's arresting, I'm gonna go arrest him. Or like a house robbery, like go ask him like what's going on, like you can't just a house robbery alarm went off. Yes, he's in the house. You have all that stuff, but like you still gotta go through it. Then you can't just insta cuff him or tackle him, whatever.
On that, since we're on that topic, that honestly happens with meth. When people are cooking meth, we just go straight to the point. I usually try to like RP if I'm on this side, like, oh, what we cooking over here? Some chicken, But I noticed a couple people, they just go straight to the point. All right, get out the vehicle. We know what you're doing.
Just a side note, just because I came across this situation earlier this week. If you are taking cadets or ride-alongs, make sure that they sit in the back at all times, because we've come across where the cadet was sitting in the front and we were stuck being in the back and we weren't able to shoot during a 1080. It makes it very hard for us to do our jobs.
Yeah, I think I was with
cadets
on that Gomez.
Cadets can sit in front. They can shoot. They don't shoot.
Yeah, but
I
the situation
believe
she's talking about, it was
more
a
experience.
civilian ride along that was sitting in the front,
Oh.
and me and Gomez,
Yeah.
we were stuck in the back seat,
Oh, yeah.
so like
Yeah.
we were very limited on what we could do to help
Everybody's
out.
become
Right.
active.
Civilian ride-alongs, yeah, but cadets they can sit in the front.
Yeah,
Or
sorry.
pick
I
them
think
up.
it was. I think Sonic. It was or Carter, I should say. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it was the ride along. I apologize.
No, we're good.
Yeah, it was me, you, Davis, and then the ride along.
Right.
So I think we got through everybody here. There was a lot said and a lot of voices heard. We're going to try and do these PDY meetings. It was been a long time, so I know there's a lot of stuff that had to be brought up. We will try and shoot for like every 2.5, 3 weeks for these PDY meetings. Kind of like a month recap.
I think that's a good idea.
And hopefully.
Yeah, it's been way too long since the last one, so we do apologize for that.
It has been a minute, yes.
And that's probably why this one went so long.
Mm-hmm.
We need to spin back to Genevieve real quick.
I did want to touch on a couple things with what Owen Peters said and Skidmore said as well. I'm also guilty of it. I've used the class 3 when I shouldn't have. And when I don't know how many of you guys, I know some of you guys already heard me say this in the city, so if you already know the answer, don't say it. But one of the biggest things that we're looking for when, in terms of use of force, there's like 3 criteria that must be met, and there's like one thing specifically that we should, that needs to be met before we just start unloading on people. Does anyone who hasn't already heard this know the answer to that?
I do.
Okay,
Let's
go ahead.
with one of the cadets, maybe.
Oh, one of the cadets?
Yeah.
Sean, do you know? Sorry if you don't. It's all right.
Yeah, it's okay if you don't.
It's okay. Okay, so who said that they knew?
Go ahead, Raven.
That was Raven? Okay, go ahead, Raven.
Isn't it weapon system? So then you know what weapon system, so you can match with the same class.
Well, yes, that's important, but in this, so what are the 3 things? There's
Immediate
weapon
threat.
system-
Immediate
yes,
threat.
yeah, immediate threat, yeah.
Right.
So we have to remember, I think it does tie into W chasing in a way, like just, we don't have to constantly shoot people all the time, class 3 weapons. I've been in a city where you don't stop shooting people because they're non-stop shooting at you, and I promise you guys, for those of you who weren't there, you do not want that. So, when Bronny gets on people, like, I think it is really, really important that we listen to him, especially if he's kind of giving us some perspective from the crim side, things like that. We don't want a city that goes back to that, so if we can do everything in our power to prevent that, I absolutely think we should. So just pay close attention to how many officers you have around you, what weapons they're using, things like that. Yep, that's all I had to say for that.
Anything else? Anybody have anything else to add before we
No,
adjourn this
I
meeting?
just want to hit on that one more time, really. Just like, guys, really focus on extending the scenes, like Skidmore said, if they have a good RP reason for something, like, don't be afraid to let them go. Like, Logan Cliff messaged me and said at a house robbery the other day, he went there and there were 7 people there and they were acting like they were servicing like the water and electric, like they had clipboards out and everything. So like, he let them go. You know what I mean? Like, if people are RPing good, like, you don't know they're there for a house robbery. Like, yes, we get the alert that there's an alarm, but just because they have that tablet doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, don't be afraid to let people go. It's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm. We don't.
Like, right now we're in like this state of just like catch and release. You know what I mean? We go get them, we take them there, and then they go to jail, and then they come out, they do the same thing, and we put them in. Like, it's not. It gets stale for everybody. You know what I mean? Have fun with things.
Yep.
But that's all I got.
Just about the house robbery. Are we alerted for every single one, regardless of the minute, or is it when they break a lockpick? Just for my own fucking.
Wait, what?
For the house robberies, are we currently alerted to everyone as a bug?
It's not every single one. No.
It's not every. Okay, because I had no idea if it was a bug or what the fuck was going on. Yeah.
No, it's not every single one.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of house robberies.
Gotcha. Just me then. Fuck me.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
So, since everyone's here, I just wanted to address something involving me. And I think a lot of people already know that I'm a very assertive and outspoken person, and that I do, a lot of the time, even now, have attitude when I'm speaking. It's something that people have addressed with me, and that I myself am addressing with myself. So I just wanted to say, like, please be patient with me. I know I have attitude, I know I can get lippy, and I know that I usually just say what's on my mind and stuff. Like, I don't have an issue with anyone, and I'm gonna try and work on and be more aware with how I'm speaking to people, and the tone and attitude behind what I'm saying. Sometimes I just say things a certain way, and I might not realize it. So I'm sorry for that behavior that I have had with officers, and I just felt like this was a good time because everyone is here. So I'm gonna try harder to be more aware of how I'm saying things, and just try to not come off as rude or bitchy. Do you know what I mean? Because I know that especially when I get frustrated. Okay, all right. I know that especially when I'm frustrated or having big feelings, I could be very emotionally driven or passionate behind that. So I'm just kind of,
I don't know if I'm getting any
I'm gonna
patrol
work
in
on it.
tonight.
If I'm talking to you or I'm frustrated during a scene or something like that where I start with the attitude or I start with whatever, please just call me out on it and just be like, hey, the way you're talking isn't nice. Let's take a second and come back to it. Because a lot of the time I just get upset and I need to separate myself from the situation so that I can kind of process it and then come back to it. Does everyone know what I mean?
100%, yeah.
Nope. Yeah, Brownie, I know.
Well, no, I'm not even being a smartass. I'm just like, I appreciate you acknowledging it very much.
It's like IRL, it's just sometimes that's how I talk, and I do have some anger issues that I need to work through in my personal life as well. So
not laughing at her. Not laughing at her.
Yeah, just help me keep
Laughing at
myself
you, Derek.
accountable with that stuff, and help me be more aware of when I can.
I got you.
stop.
Don't worry.
Okay, cool. That's about it. That's about it.
I'm ready to W chase and shoot down criminals.
Oh boy.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god. Okay, we have a bank robbery going on, so let's
Alright.
move on.
Everybody
Who's
get
next?
out of here.
Alright.
Just read Raven a few paragraphs.
I just
Of
want to say, if PK ever hosts a race, he's not allowed to participate in it.
Yeah.
That way we all stand a chance.
Wait, hold on.
Finally,
If he does a
content.
race, we get to pick his vehicle.
It won't matter. Have you
I
seen
have
that
to
man?
end the
Give him a
stream
lawnmower.
and like start it
Oh,
up again, so I can
I
set
also wanted
ready
to
for
say I
this.
forgot, but I don't know if it's a city thing or what, but sometimes I have marked myself 10-7, but to other someone else or a couple other people it says I'm 10-8. So I just want you guys to keep